y'all, welcome and welcome back to my channel. Let's go ahead and get into this, y'all, because I don't want it to be too long. As you can tell from the title, today I'm gonna be talking to y'all about how God gave me a job in my field and like the trials and tribulations that I had to go through to get to where I am now. Just to give you a little background, because this is important if you haven't seen like my previous videos and you're new here. So I am a recent graduate. I graduated summer 2020 with my bachelor's in psychology. So I graduated 2 years early, and my ultimate goal is to go into clinical mental health counseling, and I want to have like my own practice and stuff like that. That's something to keep in mind because everything revolves around what I want to do with my life. December 2019 is when I started job hunting. I applied for a couple of internships, didn't hear nothing back. I wasn't really pressed. From December 2019 to February 2020, I'm still kind of doing the same thing. I went to a job fair, didn't get nothing. I've been applying, like reaching out to people. I reached out to some companies and asked for just an internship. I didn't even want to get paid. I was just like, can I like get with you? Can I see what you be doing? Of course, like I didn't hear nothing back. So then March 2020 comes, and y'all already know that's when all hell broke loose. Before the pandemic hit, I was still in college. I hadn't finished my degree yet. So I was working at Subway. So when the pandemic hit, they sent us home and I lost my job. We were all blindsided. Y'all know what happened. Y'all was there. I get home from college, I'm like, how am I supposed to get money? When the pandemic hit, I was watching the news a lot, and you know, they would talk about unemployment. Early March, I applied for unemployment, and this was before the $600 hit. I thank God, because people weren't on unemployment until they saw the $600. They was like, oh, I need to be on unemployment. But by the time the $600 hit, it was too many people, and some people didn't get unemployment. But I applied for unemployment before, so I was already in the system. I feel like I was living the dream. If y'all know anything about unemployment, in order to continue getting the checks, you have to apply to jobs, because they're not just gonna give it to you and you're doing absolutely nothing. From March to September, I was applying for jobs in my field. So I'm collecting the money, but I'm still trying my best to get a job. Y'all, why am I vacuuming right now? I'm gonna just keep going, but you gonna hear her vacuuming. This 6.5 month period, I'm applying jobs, and I'm getting declined left and right. Nope. Everybody is telling me no. Everybody is ignoring me. I'm calling like, hey, I'm just checking up on my application. You know, what do you think? Nothing. I had interviews with different companies, went to the interviews, did the online interviews, nothing. I was highly qualified for these jobs, and I'm getting jack. It wasn't making sense. Like, I was so frustrated. Of course, this video isn't about this, but I'm also like growing in my relationship with God during this time period. I'm just like upset. I'm like, God, what is going on? I can't get a job nowhere. Around September, for me, my unemployment expired. I was like, okay, we gotta figure something out. So my best friend had told me about DoorDash, and I had heard of DoorDash, but I'm like, I'm not doing that. I couldn't get nothing else. So I was like, let me just try DoorDash. Let me try it. I started DoorDashing, and I really liked it. I love DoorDash. I was riding around, and y'all know it's the summer, so it's like really sunny and pretty. I was enjoying myself. It was so fun. Of course, like being safe, taking precautions, but I was in my car majority of the time, so I'm just, you know, I got my music blasting. I'm having a good time. I was getting crazy tips. I started falling off with DoorDash, and I was kind of just at home, just chilling again. Mind y'all, I'm still applying to jobs. I'm off unemployment. I'm done DoorDashing, but this entire time I have been applying to mental health jobs. My mom, this whole time, she been telling me to get a full-time job in a warehouse because they were hiring during the pandemic. Those are the only people that were hiring, the warehouses. And look at me. This is my arm. I got little chicken legs. I'm not built to work in a warehouse. I barely weigh 100 pounds. There's nothing wrong with warehouses. Sometimes they pay really good. October 2020, I finally broke down and applied to Amazon. I had to tell myself, like, okay, Tamia, it's just a temporary job. You're only gonna be there a couple of months because we're gonna get a job in our field. I'm talking to God. I'm like, God, please don't let me be here longer than 2 months. God, I can't do no more than 2 months. That's all I can take. I start Amazon October 4th. God definitely looked out for me when working at Amazon because I had the easiest job, in my opinion. I was stowing, so I found easier ways for me to do my job without breaking my back, because my back be hurting a lot. So while I'm working at Amazon, I'm still applying for mental health jobs, still not hearing nothing. At this point, it's been almost a year. and I'm very frustrated. I have my degree and I'm fed up, but I'm still doing what I gotta do. I'm still going to work. I'm still doing my job. It's funny how I felt like I could tell God how long I was gonna be there, but I was like, God, 2 months, that's all that's in me. This is when I started like exercising my faith. So I told y'all I'm at work for 10 hours a day. For those 10 hours, I'm praying. I would be around people all the time, but they would have no idea I'm praying because I got my mask on. So I'm literally like all day long, and like nobody knows. Like, I think that's so funny. When I tell y'all I talked to God for 10 hours straight, I talked to God for 10 hours straight. There's no exaggeration. I talked to him my entire shift because that kept me from going insane. The warehouse is quiet. They don't play music. It's not a lot of people. It's a small warehouse. It is dead silent in there. Nobody's talking. What kept me sane is talking to God the entire shift. Because I talk to God like he a person. But I'm not like yelling out loud talking to God, but just like under my breath and in a whisper, I'm praying to God, and I'm just thanking him like, God, thank you. I'm not gonna be here long. Thank you, God, that there is a job out there for me. This is discouraging, God, but I am gonna keep believing in you because I know that you did not bring me this far to leave me. And that's just like stuff I would do all day long. So I would thank God in advance over and over and over again for my job. I didn't have it. I didn't see it. That was pure faith because I'm applying jobs. I'm not getting nothing. I can't visually see where this job is gonna come from. I'm just believing in him to bring me through because I cannot visually see a job opportunity because I've been doing this almost a year. Got absolutely nothing. I put my trust fully in the Lord. October, November, going to work every day, doing what I gotta do. Still applying to jobs, still praying to God, still exercising my faith. So December comes. On my breaks and stuff, I will watch Pastor Mike's sermons. I started 2 sermon series in December. The first sermon series that I watched is called Next Christmas. Both of these sermons, Next Christmas and Unwrapped, is all about generosity. Michael Todd said this one thing to me that really stuck with me. And he said, your next breakthrough is not gonna come from prayer. It's gonna come from your generosity. It's gonna come from the giving. When Pastor Mike said this, it really hit me. So I started going crazy with the generosity because I'm already like a really like caring and giving person, but I prayed that God would give me a spirit of generosity, and he did. Because when I tell you I went crazy, I almost went bankrupt, no money on my card.
Bankrupt, like no money on my card.
I'm not gonna go into every single good deed that I did. I gave away a lot of money, not a little bit, a lot. I don't regret it. That didn't even matter to me because I wanted my breakthrough so bad. I didn't mind going bankrupt a couple times. It is what it is. Pastor Mike said not only generosity, but also sacrifice. So sacrificing money, time, anything, really. Not only did I sacrifice a lot of money, but I did sacrifice a lot of time. Again, not gonna go into a big rant about all the wonderful things that I did, but there was one sacrifice that I did want to speak about. So while I was working at Amazon, one day randomly, my manager calls me off the OP, and she wants me to come talk to her, to come meet her or whatever. So she goes off on a little tangent about, Tamia, you're so quiet and you do what you're supposed to do and you're responsible, and I feel like I can trust you, and you know, there's not like people here that I can trust, and you know, that type of thing. She asked me if I would stay behind every day after work and make sure the OPs are plugged up and cleaned off. Now y'all, me being the human that I am, my brain was like, stay? You want me to do what? My first instinct, I was gonna tell her, no, stay. I have to get into this another time, but I feel very, very, very in tune with the Holy Spirit. And it was like, this is a test. And I was like, oh. Long story short, I told her yeah. And I did it every single day until I left. I just want y'all to know, like, I'm not perfect. I do my best. I try my best to please God, but I'm still a human. So the whole month of December, generosity, sacrifice, generosity, sacrifice. Naturally, y'all, I start to break down a little bit. One, because I feel like I'm giving my all to everybody around me and I'm getting absolutely nothing back. when you give and be generous, you're not supposed to expect anything back. So I wasn't standing next to a homeless person like, what you gonna give me in return? As a collect, I'm doing all these things for all these people, and nobody's even asking me like, hey, how you feeling? You okay? Nothing. I started to feel like nobody could see me. I felt invisible, honestly. But of course, I'm still holding on to my relationship with God, and I'm telling him how I feel, and I'm just like venting because I'm just frustrated, and I feel like I'm doing all I can for other people, and nothing is working out for me. Because I'm still applying to jobs, still not getting nothing. Of course, God gave me the strength and the courage to keep going. Even though I feel broke down, I'm still stretching my faith. I'm like, God, I trust in you. I know this is gonna work out. There is a job for me out there. You have a job waiting for me. I believe it and I receive it. And I'm just kind of like, trying to push on. I feel very heavy, but I'm pushing on. This is where everything changed for me, y'all. This is the big part. The middle to the end of December 2020, I told y'all I'm a little weary. I told God 2 months, and 2 months is ticking. It's almost 2 months, and I still don't have no job. I'm like, God, I cannot come back to Amazon in 2021. I really had to exercise and push my faith, y'all, because there was no job in sight. I'm just thanking God for something that I can't see, but I knew it existed because I trusted in him. A week before everything changed for me, work got bad. I told y'all that I was able to make the job easier for me by finding ways to handle the boxes without like hurting my back. So then all of a sudden they want me to work on the dock. Mind you, I've been working at this job for 2 months. I ain't never worked on the dock. I told you I had the easiest job. I just ride around on the little thing all day. They want me to get on the floor. I go to my manager. I'm like, look, I'm sacrificing for you. I'm doing what you want me to do after work. Do I have to be on the dock? She said, yeah. And I tell y'all, I threw my back out. I was wearing a back brace my last week of work. I'm rubbing icy hot on me. I'm wearing ice packs to bed because my back hurt. They keep putting me on the dock every day. I'm like, okay, maybe they're gonna put me back on the little forklift. No, they kept me on the floor. The thing about it is, I had a perspective on it. I was like, stuff is getting so bad for me because it's about to get better. Some people, when things get bad, they just get discouraged and just throw in the towel. Me, I kind of know how God works. So I'm gonna insert a clip about that because it's really funny like how everything played out. I'm 100% convinced that things are getting worse for me because y'all know how things get worse before they get better, because it's getting real bad. This is the story time part. So on December 16th, I walk into work. My last week of work, I had straight backs. I had already had my straight backs for a week prior. Keep that in mind because that is very important. Amazon has regulations as far as hair. So what the girls do at Amazon is they take their braids, stick it in the back of their jacket. My first day of having the braids, they were tucked in my jacket. And I went up to my manager. She was like, oh, that's fine. Just keep it tucked. Remember that. That is very important. Walk into work. I didn't even clock in yet. I'm walking in the building. You need to put your hair up. Some random lady who is not a manager, she's barking at me at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I turned around and I asked her, are the braids not tucked in the back of my jacket? This was not a smart comment. Sometimes my braid fell out, so I pushed it back in. I was like, did one of my braids fall out the back? Like, are my braids not tucked in? It still need to be in a bun. Me being the disciple that I am, I told her, okay, and I walked away. I feel like she was disrespectful, but I'm not going back and forth with you. I'm not going back and forth with a 50-year-old woman, 60-year-old woman, I don't know. I'm not going back and forth with you about my hair. I finally got a chance to clock in. So I meet up with one of my coworker friends and I asked her to hold my lunchbox so I gotta go to the bathroom. So when I come out of the bathroom, that same mean lady, she went and told another person on her level to tell me to put my hair in a bun. So she said it more politely. She was just like, hey, like, you gotta put your hair in a bun. So I said, okay. And I proceeded to walk away. Of course, I told y'all they had me on the floor. I'm already dreading it because my back is hurting. So I'm walking to the floor or whatever, and I start working. And then literally like maybe half an hour later, here she come with a manager. She told the manager to come and tell me to put my hair in a bun, right? He comes up to me and he's like, hey, did somebody tell you about the hair policy? And you know, I was really respectful and I was like, yeah, someone spoke to me. I talked to Tamia a week ago. She said my hair is fine as long as I keep it tucked and it's not hanging, it's not dangling, it's perfectly fine. So he was like, okay, well, if you ever want some hair ties, I got some. He pointed to his like clip and it had a bunch of little hair ties on it. He's like, so sweet. So I was telling him like, yeah, thank you, I appreciate it. And he proceeded to walk away. This is a manager and he could care less. The only reason that he came up to me is because she kept asking him, can you go over there? Can you go over there and tell her? Can you go over there and tell her? So he turned around and went back to that first lady. I didn't hear what he told her. I wasn't listening like, oh, what are they gonna say? Like, I don't care. All I can hear is, she lying, she lying. Why is she so pressed? Mind you, I've never talked to her in the whole 2 months I've been there. We've never had a conversation. But me being the strong disciple that I am, I did not give her, because she really, really wanted me to react to her. That's why she kept like pushing. She really, really wanted me to react and say something to her. But I wasn't gonna do it. I don't give people what they want. When I know people want a reaction, you will get the exact opposite. I'm continuing to do my job and I can hear her with her little posse and they talking about me like a couple feet away. My maturity and my mindset is so like up there. I don't feed into mess because what's the point? So like an hour later, I'm still working. I'm like pushing the carts around, doing my job, not bothering nobody. I'm not talking to nobody. I'm just doing my job. I overhear her talking to another kind of supervisor saying, can you go talk to her? Can you go tell her to put her hair in a bun? And he didn't do it. I didn't hear him. I guess he said no because he didn't do it. She went around the whole time that I was there. She went around asking people, can you tell her to do this? Can you tell her? Can you tell her? Can you tell her? Like, are you 5? I'm still doing my job, y'all. I was literally like one of the youngest people that was working there. So there was like some older people that I was cool with. I went up to this one girl and she was telling me, she was like, just put your hair in a bun. Just go ahead and put your hair in a bun because they trying to write you up. I'm just baffled. I'm like, why do you care so much? This is where I drew the line because y'all, it's like 9 o'clock in the morning and we going through all this. So I'm like, I need to separate myself from this situation because this right here, this ain't it. But like I told you, I didn't give her no reaction. I ain't say nothing to her. I didn't look in her direction, nothing. But I could just hear everything that's going on behind me. So I'm like, I can't do this all day. She's gonna keep this up all day. Like, she's relentless. She really wants me to get written up and she's trying to call everybody and get everybody to gang up on me and write me up. So I'm like, look, I got paid time off. I come to work a lot, so I don't really use my paid time off. Let me just take the day. Let me just take the day off. I need to get away from this lady. It's like first break, like 9 o'clock, I'm out. I was not upset. I was not mad. I felt as though I needed to remove myself from the situation because she was trying to escalate something that did not need to be escalated. I leave work, I go get me some food, and I head home. And on my way home, I decided I'm gonna do some serious job hunting when I get home because I don't want to continue to be in this environment. On my last day of work, people were literally about to start fighting. Like, I was just looking around at my environment and it was just so toxic in my opinion. I go home and I find a listing on Indeed for a QMHPT, which is what I was at this point. At this point, I have my degree and my little license. They had literally just posted it that day. So I went ahead and applied or whatever. And y'all know how sometimes when you apply for a job on Indeed, you gotta do like a 2-step thing. So sometimes it's a quiz, sometimes it's a phone call, sometimes it's a survey, I don't know, something. This particular 2-step, you had to do a pre-recorded phone interview. This shook me, y'all. I was like, I'm not doing this because I had so much anxiety. I don't like pre-recorded interviews because I be like, I don't know what to say and like, I don't know what the questions are until you get on the phone. So I applied, I saw that, I said, nope, not doing it. I let my fear and anxiety get the best of me. I said, nope, not doing it. My mom comes home and I'm like sitting in the kitchen talking to her, and I just start crying because I just feel frustrated and overwhelmed. My back is on 10. My job, people are out to get me. This lady trying to get me fired. I've been looking for a job for a year. Nothing's happening. I feel depleted. I'm giving people my everything. I'm sacrificing, giving, praying. I just felt overwhelmed. I talked to my mom. She encouraged me. Just a side note, I genuinely believe that God uses my mom to talk to me a lot, because I always feel like I get a word from God from her. Like, that's just how our relationship is. Like, I always feel like when I need to ask her something, she's always right. Like, God always uses her to get to me. I told her about the phone interview. I'm like, Mom, I can't do this. Like, And, you know, she was just encouraging me, and she was telling me, like, you can do this. I don't remember exactly what she said, but she was encouraging me, pushing me to do it. So I'm like, bro. So I go in my room, I pray, and I get on that phone. Me being me, I listened to it and then canceled it so I can hear the question and write an answer. In the process of doing that, I had successfully finished one question and I had wrote down my answer. So we get to the second question. There was like a certain button or number that you could press to cancel. So when they had asked me the question, I was like, I was making weird noises. So I was like, let me delete this. So I pressed like the thing to delete, and it said sent or something. I was like, when I tell y'all, I was freaking out. It was a 4-question interview. When the employer is gonna play it back, all he gonna hear is blah, blah, blah. I was so embarrassed. I pressed delete and it kept it. I was like, okay, Tamia, what do we do when we have problems with stuff? So like when I was in college, I had an issue, I would email my professor. So I was like, let me go ahead and email this employer and let him know I messed up. But then I was like, you know what? Let me just call this number. I saw a number on the website. So I was like, okay, let me call this number and leave a voicemail, and hopefully they'll call me back and we can like fix this, because that was so embarrassing. I didn't want him to listen to it. I was just like, please don't listen. Please don't listen to that interview. Mind y'all, it's 8 o'clock at night. So I'm assuming nobody's in the office. So nobody's gonna answer. So I'm gonna leave a voicemail. And it goes ring, ring, hello. And I'm like, so you know, I go into my little speech. Hello, my name is Tamia. And I told him about how I messed up the interview. So he was like, okay, what's your name again? And he wanted to pull up my application. So he put up my application. He was in his car. He had got a flat tire in the middle of the night. So he had his laptop and he was just sitting in the car. He was by his phone. He put up my information and he was like, yeah, so I'm gonna go over your stuff, and I actually have a orientation coming up. So I'll contact you, yada, yada, yada. First we got off the phone that night. Then we talked the next day. And basically, y'all, long story short, I got a job. I still can't believe it. Now that I look back at it, I am so grateful for that lady that was being rude to me, because if she hadn't continued to push me, you know what I'm saying, and make the environment even worse than it already was, then I wouldn't have went home and job hunted, you know? I know that was a little long, y'all. A lot of stuff happened. A lot of stuff I didn't even tell y'all about, because it's too much to like put in this video. And I honestly believe that God was testing me and he was using people to push me. I don't know if y'all know how rare it is for an office to answer the phone after 5 o'clock. That doesn't happen. And I just took a leap of faith. Like, there was so many like crossroads, and I could have went the opposite way. Like, I could have just not did the phone interview because I was scared. If I hadn't talked to my mama, I wouldn't have had the courage to go do the phone interview. If I didn't mess up the phone interview, I never would have called him. The way God works is just so awesome. I have been a counselor for 2 months now. It's so amazing. I'm just so grateful. I'm in my field. I get paid more than I was getting at Amazon. I'm gaining experience. It's honestly a blessing. I said all of that to possibly encourage somebody who maybe is going through the same thing. Somebody who's like trying super hard to get into their field and it's not working. Let me tell you, God's got you. No matter how hard it feels, trust in the Lord and he will guide you. When I tell y'all, a year ago today, I had no idea that I would be working in my field because it seemed impossible. Trusting in the Lord really, really changes things for people. I pray that this video blesses somebody. I pray that it encourages somebody to continue to believe in God and to stretch your faith. Anything is possible with God. No matter if you can't see it, just know that God will never leave nor forsake you. He sees you, he sees what you're going through, and he has plans to prosper you and not harm you, but to give you hope and a future. So continue to trust in God, y'all. Let me know if y'all have like video suggestions. Thank you for tuning in to my storytime/testimony. As always, y'all, be blessed, stay safe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.